Yeah, well, the lucky thing about my life is that years ago I went up and I sat on Mulholland Drive and I pictured my whole life as if it already was. And one of the things that I affirmed when I was doing my visualizations was that my work would not only make an impact, but that it would keep reintroducing itself to new generations of people.
Quick stretch, little snack, and here we go.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Doing great.
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to talk with you. In this movie, we can see a new side of Sonic. At first, he only wanted to save himself from Robotnik and stay on Earth. But in the end, besides starting a family with Tom, he realizes that he can use his powers to help others. And now he becomes a hero with a huge mission and even find his place on this planet. I find that quite interesting because you feel a real evolution of the character. But what do you think about that? How do you feel about seeing Sonic's growth, and what does it mean to you to play him in this movie?
Sure, I think it's a great point. I think one of the first things that you find in the first movie, it's like an outsider, a kid that's not really accepted, doesn't have really any friends. He finds his partner in Tom, and then in the second movie, he's kind of learns that he has these superpowers, and so he's like, I can do everything by myself. The idea of like how a kid, when the kid grows, doesn't quite listen to the parents as much. It feels like he or she could take over the world. So it's like, I love the idea at the beginning of this, he's like, I'm a superhero, I can do everything, I don't need anybody's help. And it's that journey of finding out you do need friends, you do need to be able to ask for help and, you know, all those things. So I think it's great. And in terms of what it's like for me to play him, it's like a dream come true. I grew up playing these games in the 90s. I played video games my whole life. And so the idea that I could be the voice of a character like this, and it's kind of like the introduction to a lot of people meeting this character. So it's a dream come true. I feel incredible pride and feel very lucky that the community, the fan community, has embraced me and James to be part of it.
Jim, it is evident an evolution from the Robotnik we saw in the first movie to the one that appears in Sonic 2. And now we see a more evil side that we didn't know him, but he's also much funnier than before. And I find it interesting the way you play him this time, but what do you think about this new version of Robotnik? How do you prepare yourself to play a character like this that has a lot of physical comedy?
Well, I've always been very physical, so it's like, to me, it's like dancing. And, you know, I find myself, you know, speaking to my people, going like between every scene, going, do you believe this? You know, you believe I'm like 60 years old and I'm dancing like I'm Fred Astaire here or whatever. It's wonderful, and it's motivational for me, you know, to be able to stay young and spry and as long as possible. But it's also, you know, it's also mental, you know, and it's a journey this character has been on. He's gone from a human being who's brilliant and evil to this demigod with the emerald power, and he truly is now kind of evil gone quantum, you know. I mean, it's kind of what we're all afraid of, you know, where these machines are going to take over and start thinking faster than us, and they already do think faster than us, but actually be able to replace us, you know. And I think that if there's an evolution for this character beyond this, it's probably that you know, he becomes the machine.
Papa's got a brand new stash.
Since I've been gone, I've discovered the source of ultimate power.
James, I think in the movie we see a very different relationship between Tom and Sonic. In the first one, they were more like friends, but in this one, it's clear to us that your character sees him as if he were a son. he wants him to have a friends and even guides him. And that's clear with the phrase that he tells him, something like, a hero is not someone who knows how to take care of himself, but someone who takes responsibility for others. And I feel like that's like the line that Uncle Ben says to Peter Parker, you know? And I like that because I think it's a great message for these times. But if you had to give advice to the James Marsden of the past, as well as Tom did to Sonic, what would you tell him and why?
Oh, what a question.
Wow, that was it's a big one. James Marsden of the past, and to tell to Sonic. I mean, I guess there's a just trust your gut, follow your heart thing I'd love to say to, you know, but that said, I feel like I kind of did that proudly, I can say. But I love everything about that scene and what is, what Tom feels compelled to share with Sonic in that moment, which is, you're right, their dynamic in the first film was was more of a buddy relationship, right? They just discovered each other. He felt bad for the kid and took him in, and you know, the Donut Lord was kind of his hero at the moment. And now Sonic's getting to be kind of like a teenager and showing all the signs of that. And he's, you know, maybe stretching the rules a little bit here and there, but always his intentions are always good and he wants to do good things. But Tom, unbeknownst to himself, even is finding himself needing to be more of a father to this kid who's hopefully he's instilling in him, you know, ideas and virtues and values that he then can help somebody else out with. And I think that, not to give too much away, but Sonic is going to find himself in a position where, yeah, he's going to have to take responsibility for others, and he learns that. And I think that's what's interesting for me, is watching him have that journey of self-discovery and learn that it's not just about having the superpowers, it's about, you know, what you do with them and how you treat other people. And anyway, so I like that evolution is taking place. That was all me stalling to try and think of an answer to the original question, what is the advice I would give myself?
Follow your heart works.
Huh? Yeah,
Follow your heart.
I like that one. Yeah, follow your heart. Yeah. I'm afraid to disagree.
That's good.
Yeah.
Don't try to always people please.
Right. Yep. I'd say that.
Well, Jeff, I have to congratulate you for this movie. It completely exceeded my expectations because it is even more fun and intense than the previous one.
Oh, that's great.
I would like to ask you, where did the idea for Sonic 2 come from, and how did you develop such a charming and exciting story?
Well, thank you. I'm so happy that you enjoyed the film. That's great to hear. It came from a lot of different places. I mean, we always knew we wanted to bring in some of these other fan favorite characters like Tails, like Knuckles. And I think that already like is sort of informing some of the choices we make. I mean, one of the things I love about Knuckles is kind of how he was originally introduced in the games. I mean, the way he was manipulated by Robotnik into thinking that Sonic was his adversary is great. It's very great dramatic material for a film. And so sort of bringing him into the story, I mean, he's got superpowers. He's obviously a very impressive warrior. Idris Elba just absolutely sort of crushes the performance. And so that was just exciting. And seeing those two characters, Sonic and Knuckles, sort of go head to head was very exciting from a story standpoint. But then also continuing what we set up in the first film and having Robotnik on the far side of the universe with the crazy mustache and the bald head. And I know Jim Carrey was so excited about getting to revisit that. So there were a lot of stuff that was really just building upon what we did in the first film, leaning into all that sort of relatable heart, emotion, a ton of humor. I mean, this cast is so hilarious. Everyone's so funny. And then just going big, you know, and just delivering a big sequel with big action, all the stuff that you would expect from a Sonic movie and from a sequel. So, but yeah, we had a blast, and I'm just so excited for audiences to see it.
Hope I'm not too late.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Name's Tails.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Step 1, light taunting. Step 2, I have no idea.
Tika, I was talking to James about how interesting I find the relationship between Sonic and Tom now. At the beginning, they were more like friends, but now it looks like they are father and son. And Maddie, of course, also sees him as her son, and now they are a bit of a dysfunctional family. What I like about this movie is that your character is more involved in the story and especially in helping Sonic to complete his mission. But how do you feel about playing Maddie once again and having her play a bigger role in the movie?
I mean, it's super, I am grateful that I get to come back as Maddie and my role was expanded and that I'm actively helping the mission, right? But also actively helping my family in all ways. And it was just fun to play with Sonic and with James again. And you're right, our family is kind of dysfunctional, but I think that's why people understand us. Like
they relate to that.
Yeah, they relate to the dysfunction and the funny and the jokes and all of it. So I was just really, really excited to come back as Maddie.
I know this question may be a little bit strange, but if you had to lend your voice to Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, who would you choose and why?
Oh, who
to lend our voices
to?
Yeah.
Ooh, I would probably pick Knuckles. Just because it's such a stretch from who I am. I love doing voice work with animation, and it's so much fun to play around in the voice booth and dig deep.
Yeah. I like Tails. Because I love that little kid's, like, it's so earnest and like, I want to do all these things.
I want to be tough. Sound like trying to get my Idris elbow on. I can't do it.
Idris and Colleen are going to be like,
they're going to be like,
this
is why they hired us. That is problematic. But yeah, I think those would be the most fun.
Yeah, they would be fun.
Today's forecast calls for a 100% chance of adventure.
Throughout your career, you play a lot of characters that are now iconic in pop culture and loved by everyone. But what does playing Robotnik mean to you? I mean, he's a very important character for video game fans and for those who follow the Sonic franchise.
Yeah, well, the lucky thing about my life is that years ago, I went up and I sat on Mulholland Drive and I pictured my whole life as if it already was. And one of the things that I affirmed when I was doing my visualizations was that my work would not only make an impact, but that it would keep reintroducing itself to new generations of people. And I've been blessed with that times 1,000. And again, I'm blessed because Robotnik is something, people who grew up in the 90s were in love with. And so there's another generation that for years to come will identify me with something that they love. And I feel so gratified by that. It goes back to Ace Ventura. It's like, and even in Living Color, where people that were children then come up to me, grown adults, saying like, The Weeknd comes up to me and says, I got into show business because I saw The Mask when I was 4 years old, and it's like, it's just incredibly blessed, grace, life of grace that I have.
Well, I think this film has more of the idea of loyalty and friendship and how important they are, especially for the times we still live in. But what is the message you would like the audience to take away from Sonic 2?
Oh, it's just optimism. There's such positivity in these films. I think it's something that the world is always in short supply. There's always something going on. You want movies to sort of help you sort of escape. I mean, that's what movies do best, is like to take your mind off things. And I think we always work really hard on these films, just being fun, having really positive messages for families, for kids, but also just be entertaining and fun for everybody. I mean, it just really bringing people together, giving them a movie to be excited about with an audience on a big screen. I think it's such a wonderful experience and something that again, I feel like is just so important in the world, to have all that optimism and that joy.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Once again, congratulations for this movie. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Do I look like I need your power?